Hello everyone, my name is Zeynep Nalçakan. I'm a student in Electrical and Electronics Engineering Department in Bilkent University, and this is my Physics 102 project. In this experiment, I aim to observe the different factors effect on magnetic force. In this experiment, I'm going to use this setup. I have a current supplier, two cables, a stand, a scale, two set of magnets, a revolving coil unit, and I have a variable length current loop. In the first part of the experiment, I'm going to observe the effect of changing current on magnetic force. I set my wire length to 4 centimeters, and I'm going to start with 0.5 ampere, and I'm going to increase it by 0.5 steps until I reach to 5 ampere.
In the first part of the experiment, I observed the effect of changing current. Then, to find the measured magnetic forces, I multiplied the values I find with the gravitational acceleration, which is 9.81. Then I plot the graph of magnetic force versus current and draw its baseline, and as expected, I get a linear graph. Then I find the magnetic field from the slope of the graph and the other known data. Then I calculated the magnetic forces and compared them with the measured values, and find the percentage errors, which are mostly acceptable.
In the second part of the experiment, I'm going to observe the effect of the wire's length on magnetic force. So I'm going to change the length of the wire from this part, and I'm going to take measurements.
In the second part of the experiment, I observe the effect of changing wire length on magnetic force. Then I find the measured magnetic forces by using the measured data and the gravitational acceleration. After that, I plot the graph of magnetic force versus the length of the wire graph. And like in the first part, I draw its baseline, and then again, as expected, I get a linear graph. Then I find the magnetic field from the slope of the graph and the other known data. Then I calculate the magnetic forces and compare them with the measured values, and find very low percentage errors.
In the third part of the experiment, I'm going to observe the effect of the angle between the magnetic field and the wire. For this part, I'm going to use a revolving coil unit, and I set my current to 2 amperes. And I'm going to take measurements, changing the angle by 10 degrees steps until I reach the 19 degrees.
In the third part of the experiment, I observe the effect of changing angle between the wire and the magnetic field. I plot the graph of magnetic force versus sine theta. I did the same steps I did in the first two parts. Finally, I find the percentage errors which are higher than the first two parts. In conclusion, I observed and understand these factors' effect on the magnetic force and the concept of magnetic force and magnetic field in general. Even though I find errors, since most of them are acceptable for this small of numbers, I can say that my results are pretty accurate and the measurements are pretty precise. The reasons for the errors can be human-based calculation errors, measurement errors, systematic errors, rapid changes on the values, and the Earth's magnetic field's effect.